Failing at something does not mean that you are a failure. It is really important to not identify with something that wasn't successful. I see so often that people get caught up in this identification of being a failure. There is one big issue vibrationally. When we identify as a failure, we continue to attract more failures, and we begin to focus on all the things that are not successful in our lives. We actually get consumed by this, meaning that our emotions and thoughts are actually focusing on all these things that basically validate us as being a failure. The truth is that everybody, even the most successful people out there have failed at things, failed at something, that they have set a goal or been in a relationship and these things have not been successful. When we are not successful, it does not mean that we are a failure. And this is really, really important because it allows us to be consumed by that. We make it all about ourselves. We make this dream that we had or this goal that we had was supposed to make us feel successful and supposed to make us feel happy. So when there is not success, that means we are a failure. When there is no success as well, it means that happiness didn't come, so therefore we are sad, right? This is the polarity game in this. Even the most successful people, like I said, have failed. But the thing about them is they don't identify with it. They don't let it consume them. They sit with it. They reflect on things. They won't overanalyze, but they'll just see, how do they pivot? How do they change? How do they get up and move again? I loved hearing a saying recently, because there's been some things that I have even worked out in my lifetime that haven't been as I wanted them to be. The results weren't there. And it didn't mean it held me down. But I did sit with those little moments of grief and sort of reflected on that. But I didn't let it consume me. I didn't let it be my identity, that I was a failure. Because actually I've been really successful in my life. I have achieved some amazing things because I got up and went again. When I heard this saying recently, it hit home for me. For us to be successful, we need to throw lots of balls into the universe, throwing them out there, giving it a go. It's like me here today sharing this. Maybe only a few people will see it. Maybe it will hit a home run. And that's how it works with the universe. The more times we send these balls out, the more chance we have at hitting a home run. That the universe is going to catch it and throw it back for us to be in response, ready to receive, yeah? So it's really important to know that. The thing is if we identify with our failures, we start to create unconscious patterns, which means when it's unconscious, we are unconscious, which means we are not with our present moment. We are not aware of how we are acting. We are identifying with things in our lives. So we are taking away to actually feel presence, to actually feel joy, to see the beauty of all the other things, because we're consumed in head thoughts and feelings that are basically taking over your life. The most valuable thing in life is presence, is being in the now and finding joy and bliss and learning how to just be so present that we can feel life moving through us as energetic beings. I know in the past when I've had things fail, I had unconscious patterns come up. And this might have been that I wasn't good enough or wasn't worthy enough. Maybe I was abandoned in a relationship, right? And I went into that identifying, my tongue got tied then. See, not successful. Oh no, I don't make it like that. But I failed at that. No. Anyway, so if I was to identify that this person left me and made it about me, that I wasn't good enough, what's going to happen in the next relationship or likely to happen is an unconscious pattern. For instance, say the next relationship, there's all these red flags that they actually are a toxic relationship, but we're just going to overgive our love. We're going to ignore those red flags. We just want to help them in every way we can because this person is needy or has all these unhealthy patterns and they need help and they need you to be there, and it becomes very codependent. So they won't abandon us. so that we feel worthy on some level. Yet the relationship is actually really toxic, and then we're not receiving the love we needed, we're not receiving the partnership we needed, and we're actually really abandoning ourselves. So we start to create these unconscious patterns to actually acknowledge at some stage this feeling of abandonment that we identified with. There's also things that we can actually do is in shadowing the energy. And again, we'll start to create unconscious patterns to play out in different distorted ways until we actually feel that energy of not being worthy or feeling like a failure, until we actually see it. I know I've seen in so many other times that when we are crippled by the fear of failing again, we will actually stay in our comfort zone. We're scared to move on. So what happens is we're crippled by fear on an unconscious level. So we'll never chase our dreams. We will never step outside these boundaries and eventually never feel fulfilled. We're just sort of sitting in this space. And unfortunately, if that's the space we're sitting in, we're holding on to a lot of fear and we're holding on to a lot of this failed energy. So we are not really living a blissful, happy life. So we really need to look at that us failing is not that we are a failure. We need to acknowledge why these things come into our lives, and sometimes it was just not meant for us. Maybe the divine timing wasn't there and we're actually meant for something so much better, because that has happened to me in the past, that all of a sudden a door opened up and all these other opportunities came in at that time, but I had to miss that previous moment. Maybe that relationship is not meant for you because there's somebody so much better for you. It doesn't mean that you were a failure at trying to make that relationship work. It just wasn't aligned. And another one that really hits people and hits home for people is that you weren't in the energy of success, that you weren't vibrationally aligned to receiving that, right? Because you were still holding on to the fear or failure and making your happiness and making your success make you happy, right? So until you obtain that thing, that goal, you weren't really happy. So you're really trying to obtain the feeling of feeling successful and happiness, but you need to embody that now. You need to be vibrationally in alignment. You need to be being that. You don't receive what you want. You receive what you are being in a vibrational sense. So we need to acknowledge those pieces. Just reflect. Don't overanalyze. Don't go too deep into it. When we just sit with our energy and presence, our soul will guide us. Our intuition will give us answers. We will start to see the next step. But just don't identify yourself as a failure. Maybe you did fail. Maybe you weren't successful this one time. But keep throwing those balls. Trust me, eventually you will hit the home run that you want. If you just keep doing the energetic work and you keep doing that embodiment practices to be aligned to that thing, if it's meant for you, it will 100% happen for you at some stage in your life. It doesn't mean it's now, it doesn't mean it's tomorrow, and it doesn't mean it's on the time that you predicted it to be, because we don't have that foresight. So trust, keep moving forward. Keep believing in yourself. Keep giving yourself the opportunity to have success. And just remember, the greatest success is actually being happy and present in the now. The more you can do that, the greater potential you have of creating the life of your dreams, and maybe even beyond your wildest dreams. Because when I took that actual aspect into my life, that I'm going to live a life beyond my wildest dreams, that I have goals and ambitions to have certain things, I actually receive things way beyond those things. And so yes, there were some sort of moments of not being successful or failing at certain things because something way beyond that was ready to come in. And surrendering to that, not creating resistance, is really, really important. So many people resist accepting the situation as it is and can't move on from that. So let go, surrender, and trust that magic is available to you. You are deserving. You are worthy. Everybody is worthy of success. For trust in that magic that's ready to come for you. Lots of light and love from Kelly at Energetically Inspired.